for every branded video that goes up, I have at least 5 organic videos that go
If you
up.
really want to come into the social media life, think less and do more.
The best response to a hater is no response.
Be yourself, go slow. And yeah, storytelling is very powerful.
Even if it's once a week, even if it's once a fortnight, put out something without overthinking it to a point where you ruin that for yourself.
Sometimes, yes, you should show the real life with a pinch of filter.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kofluence Unplugged, and I am your host, Pranavi. Today, we are diving deep into a very interesting conversation about how to maintain authenticity in the age of curated content. In the digital space today, where polished aesthetics are the norm, how do influencers juggle with being genuine? In the conversation today, we are joined by Priyanka Pathak, an eminent parenting creator, and Lekh Uthaiah, a prominent lifestyle creator as well. They have both garnered a good following on social media and have built a loyal community while juggling this delicate balance between authenticity and curation. Hello, Lekh and Priyanka. Lovely having you today. Tell me a little bit about how you started off with this journey of content creation and what inspired you and what got you started basically.
I actually started in high school when Instagram became a thing, but not really as a creator, but more because I loved being in front of the camera. It only picked up, or like I understood the algorithm or how to crack it like 2 years back. And it's a very funny story because I actually was in Mumbai at the time pursuing acting. And for some reason, I thought that 3 months in, I should get a big blockbuster movie and I should be it. I should be doing the next movie with Ranveer Singh. But that didn't happen because you go in and you realize, it's not as easy as it looks. So I think I started to pour all of that energy into creating content and making skits because I was like, I have the talent. I might as well put it somewhere because you wake up in the morning and you get ready with for your audition look and you're like, okay, why not use it for somewhere else? So that started to pick up. Comedy skits started to really work out. A lot of lip syncing videos started to go viral.
Those were the
And-
rage back in the day.
Absolutely. And I was like, I need to stick to this. So I feel like when I moved back to Bangalore, giving acting a break because it was just not what I was expecting it to be. Content creation worked out, and I think I love it so much that I don't think I'm gonna leave this anytime.
Absolutely. And you're amazing at what you do. So I hope you continue doing what you do.
Yeah, till the time you're
And-
enjoying what you're doing, you should
And
actually
what about you,
continue that.
Priyanka? Like, how do you start off?
So, being a mom influencer, of course, my journey started when I was expecting Vayu. Um, so yeah, I mean, when Vayu was born, and by that time, the postpartum depression is actually real. I mean, people really think that no, it's a bookish thing. It is not. I was actually facing so many difficulties to live up kind of thing, and there was no one because he was born during COVID. Uh, and yeah, my husband was like, I think you should do something which you really like. And before I was pregnant, and before I moved here in Bangalore, I used to do shoots and all there in Kolkata itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was kind of love with the cameras and the
course.
music and all that. So yeah, he started learning how to do shoots and all from YouTube because it was a COVID time, the work was less and all that. And he started shooting both of us. I started reviewing the products, and that's how it started. And yeah, boom, some of the videos got such a good view. Some of the good brands, they reached out to me. They purchased my videos. They spread all the videos to their channels, and the videos actually got millions of views. And that's how the journey started. And it was a boom kind of thing.
Great. So you both sort of hit it off during the pandemic period and
Yeah, I mean, I started. Your was pandemic or what?
post pandemic. Great. So now diving into the topic at hand, how do you strike a balance between authenticity and a very picture perfect curation that we put out on social media, right? So how do you strike a balance between both of them? Do you put more importance on the authentic side of it, or are you more concerned about the curation bit of it? How do you balance it out?
So I think they both coexist. Because when you are showing, I personally feel when you are showing a picture, of a beautiful dining table that yeah I have made such foods, you should show the messy kitchen as well. That's the beauty of like the reality what you're showing. So yeah, I think both coexist, and we should actually well, I follow the same. I don't know about others, but yes, I follow the same. So yeah.
Okay. And what about you,
I
Lekh?
think curating content or to make it look aesthetically pleasing for me to an extent matters. Like I see at least 70% of that because I know that human beings are visual creatures and I would rather look at a video longer if it just looks neater, is pleasing to the eyes, has colors, as compared to someone who's put no effort into the aesthetics. Even though the message is good, I might not be interested in my retention won't be as long. So I do make sure that if I'm shooting, I'm checking the background, I'm making sure things are clear, I'm making sure I'm styling my hair or putting on makeup just so that it'll help me in the end, and that in turn will help me get the audience I want. But at the same time, I make sure that it doesn't get too perfect. Every time I feel like I'm putting across a very airbrushed version, because I also work as a model, and there are times that pictures come out where I'm looking fabulous, like out of the blue, and I make sure that probably the last two slides actually show a BTS of me struggling or falling in heels a little or my makeup getting messed up, because that's when people relate to you and people want to follow you and kind of aspire or to be you while also seeking some sort of inspiration from you.
I think that little strain of relatability
Yes.
should be in the content, because I was reading about this a few days back that according to a study by Stackler done in 2021, apparently 86% of customers like to engage more in
When it's relatable, yes,
when the
yes.
content is more relatable, they find it to be more appealing to them, right? So
Yeah.
absolutely, like there has to be a balance between showing what
Yes,
who
balance
you
is the
really
key.
are and showing something aesthetic, so that people should have a reason, right, to come look at your content.
Of course, yes.
Exactly. And since you are a lifestyle creator, you are a mom creator, you have to show certain personal aspects of your life to the audiences, right? Like you would be showing your personal style preferences, your personal food preferences, you would be showing your parenting techniques, etc. But how do you decide where to draw the line? How do you know what amount of your private life can you show on social media and what amount can you hold back? How do you draw the line there?
Um, I'll say I would prefer to keep it 70-30.
Okay.
70-30 as in like I always prefer to show the 70% of look, this is what I did and what I do kind of thing. And 30% is something I actually, I fell on multiple times before doing that. That should be 30% because I feel the realistic thing really matters. But all the time and just to show ki, this is real, you don't have to show all the mess like in front of the camera. So I prefer to keep it 70-30 in my case.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how do you decide how much of your private opinions or your private the way you do life, basically, how do you decide how much of that you portray on social media?
So
Because parenting again is something very it's subjective, right? People do
Yes.
it very differently.
yeah. So according to me, I feel that parenting is something for every parent. Parenting is different. I am no one to teach anyone that you should do this, you should do that, or this is the right way of parenting. No,
It's very gray. You can't
Yeah.
say it's black and white.
exactly. So that way, I feel whatever is my experience, I share mine. What is your opinion should be your opinion. Yeah, if it will come on the part that someone is giving me advice, I prefer to keep those advice in like thank you, and this is something I'll take care of this later on kind of that folder. But yeah, I don't care about the negative things because whatever is my experience, I'm sharing mine. It's completely up to you. You have to take it or not.
Exactly.
So
If
I,
you
and I
are
prefer not
in
to
my
share the
community,
advices and all that. I just share my experience.
If you are in my community, then take it as it is. And
Yeah, because that's what I said. Every parent have their own experience, so you just can't relate or you can't suggest kind of thing. Some of them they like, some of them they don't like. It's completely up to you. Yeah.
Exactly. And what about you, Lekh? How do you manage to hold back things that are very private to you while still being authentic on social media?
I've actually learned it the hard way because I remember thinking that social media is where you need to show everything because it's very hard to draw a line when you're a lifestyle influencer, especially to know, okay, what should you show the audience and what should you hold back. So I was in a relationship that I was so obsessed over, and I remember making edits for the guy and putting it up on my
We've all been
stories.
there, yeah.
Embarrassing. I didn't have as big of an audience, luckily, so that's why they say, do your trial and error in the beginning, so you learn earlier. And I think when that ended, fortunately, honestly, I mean, a lot of people then had questions. Ki, oh, but what happened? Aren't you with that XYZ person anymore? You're not posting pictures, da, da, da. And that time it felt intrusive to me. I was like, that's not your business.
But at the same time, you were
I
the
was the
one
one who
churning out
gave that
content, right?
content out
Yes.
for them, and it's fair for them to then ask because you've built that community. So I think as I grew and I started to gain more followers and more eyes on my profile, I made it very sure that things that matter the most to me, things that are volatile, things that can be affected by opinions, I want to keep it private. So maybe my partners, maybe my parents, just keeping that part, which I feel like can be prone to nazar.
Yes.
I kind of
Oh,
keep
that's real. That's
Yeah,
to,
quite
to
real.
nazar is real,
myself.
actually,
Nazar is
yeah.
real.
And I think the places where they feel like if I want to speak about a restaurant, if I want to speak about an outfit, things that people can learn from, people can shop, buy, and a part of something that they feel relatable to, that I share.
Exactly. And there's quite a bad side to this as well. As you said, people can be intrusive. We've seen so many influencers who've been open about their private lives on
Yeah.
social media. They've received a lot of slack. Not just that, people have created content about their personal lives on social media. So, absolutely, there has to be a line drawn somewhere. But I feel even after a line being drawn, people will talk. There's no stopping.
That's their job.
Yes, people will be intrusive, and yes, that is absolutely.
Yeah, you must have heard the song, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे लोगों का काम है कहना. So, like, it should be like that. उनका काम है कहना.
True.
We should do our own job.
Yes, so we're here to do our job, and we should keep it at that.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on to our next topic at hand. Do you will you if you had to choose between authenticity and curation, you absolutely have to choose one. Either being authentic or putting out a picture perfect image. Which one would you choose?
Would you like to answer or shall I?
I would definitely choose authenticity because I feel like perfect is boring at this point. We do not want to see everything 100% right because it's not real. Real life does not have 100% accuracy in everything. So yeah, my choice would be authenticity.
Yeah, even I feel like you can't be a Cinderella all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So people can relate your life if it's, and they really want to see you when it's mostly relatable to them.
Absolutely.
So I feel authenticity really matters. But yeah, not 100%. Sometimes yes, you should show the real life with a pinch of a filter, of course. That matters.
Okay, great. So the next thing that I wanted to discuss with you is that how do you stay true to your brand? Like you both have a niche, right? You both have a certain essence to your content that you put out. So how do you stay true to your content strategy? What is your strat behind it? How do you stay true to the brand that you've built for yourself on social media?
So, truly speaking, when I get some of the assignment, which when brand says ki, you have to do it in that way. I mean, that a typical ad kind of thing, which I prefer not to do that because I know that my audience really like a pinch of humor and of course a pinch of fun in my content. So I prefer to keep the things like that. If the brand is okay with that, I prefer to go ahead. Also, if I do not like the brand, I'll not shoot for them. That's what I prefer because it's all about kids. And I'm like very finicky about the kids items or any product about
It's a very
kids.
sensitive topic as
yeah,
well.
of course.
Children
That's
are
why I
quite a
always prefer
sensitive
if
topic.
this is not suitable for my kid, I would definitely not prefer to some other kid, especially when it comes on some of the diaper brands, I'll say, or the baby products or some creams and all that. So I would not like to take the name here, but yes, some of the brands, those are very famous, but I would, if they're going to give me crores also, I'm not going to use those products on my kid. So I would never prefer to work for them. And I did that, yes. So yeah, I feel like the way I put my content, my audience really like the fun and the humor thing. I prefer to keep the things
and
like
you stay
that.
true to yourself by not promoting any sort of businesses that go beyond your ethics or
Yes,
they
I
go
would
against
never
your
want to do
ethics,
that.
right?
Yes,
That is very important in
yeah, because
today's,
I don't think
world,
I
think.
am doing this thing for whatever comes and let's get that kind of thing. I'm doing it to just to help the mothers, just to help the parents, I would say. So because if they're watching me, they are following me, there should be a reason. They have a trust on me. I don't want to break that trust.
Yes,
So yeah.
and it's not something very frivolous either. It's parenting at the end of the
Yes,
day. You're
yes.
bringing up a life,
Yes.
so it has to be quite perfect. It
Not
can't
really perfect, but
not
should be true
perfect,
to myself
true
at
to
least.
yourself,
Yeah.
yes. Like you can't be propagating brands which are harmful at the end of the day, or
Which I know. I mean, maybe they are good with their own product. Maybe the product which is not suitable for Vayu, maybe suitable for the other kids. But if I'm not comfortable promoting them, I will not do that. Whether they're giving me a hefty money also, if I'm not comfortable, I will not do that, because I know the kind of trust my audience have with the kind of reviews. When I get the feedback saying that, or when I get the comments saying that we were really waiting for you this video, or this was really helpful. You should do this also, so we will get to know the feedback about that. You should work on that product as well. Do let us know your reviews on that. So I can actually relate this. Yes, they do have a trust on me. So I don't want to break that one. That's the reason I'm here. That's the reason I've gained such a good number of followers.
so trust and being true
Matters.
to your ethics is how you go forward while being true to your brand.
Yes, yes.
And what about you, Lekh? How do you make sure that you're sticking by your brand and you are following the path that you chose?
I, before a creator, was of course a consumer. And I have seen creators, once they grow and they start ending with brand deals, kind of lose the charm that they first got their audiences for. I don't find them funny anymore. I don't know whether, if they're recommending something, is it authentic or is it just because they're paying paid? And we as consumers are becoming very wise. We no longer are blindly believing what people are telling us. So I make sure that for every branded video that goes up, I have at least 5 organic videos that go up.
Oh,
Like my
wonderful.
strategy has to be that, because I don't want people to come to my page and be like, oh, it's just another advertisement page,
Exactly.
just another pretty girl showing pretty products.
There's something called influencer fatigue, actually, that when a creator does just paid promotions, that it's great for her, him, her. They're doing business at the end of the day, but somewhere the consumer feels that is this just for endorsements? When do we get to see the real self? Good for them, they're getting business done, but I feel influencer fatigue is something that is surely kicking in for a lot of influencers these days, right?
Absolutely. And I feel like for me, I prefer to be called a content creator over an influencer, because like I said, it came to me from a place of art, like from a place where I want to express myself. So brand deals coming in, great, wonderful. I'm great. There's another source of income, but that's not the intention behind the page. So it still remains Lekh Uthaiah. People still need to, somebody from 8th standards fumbles upon me, and I still want them to say, oh, you look different, but the energy remains the same, but your values look the same. And I make sure that every time it either gets too curated or too brand-y, I make sure I put in like a little bit of my flavor again.
Exactly. And this is the flavor that people actually look out for. Research by Pew suggests that 40% of the consumers out there would actually prefer content creators who have that essence, that flavor, that they who retain that flavor in their content while putting out curated, branded content out there. And also another thing, y'all being in the industry, deep into it, the most I think one of the biggest things that must be bothering you all is criticism and unsolicited advice. It is also the herd mentality of the audiences out there that the bullying, the hate comments. How do you deal with criticism, hate comments, or unsolicited advice, especially for you as a parent influencer, and maybe bullying for you as a content creator in the lifestyle genre? How do you deal with that?
So, if I'll talk about the negative comments, yeah, I mean, when I do a lot of commercial ads, I would say. So yeah, that time, like, some of the audience, they'll DM, of course, and some of the illiterate people, I would say, they'll comment in the inbox some weird things. Uh, but yeah, that's, if we are gonna take care of such thing, we won't be able to work properly. So we really need peace of mind. I prefer to keep them in, like, keep your thoughts with you kind of folder, I would say, but actually not. I prefer to jokes apart, actually, I prefer to keep, like, take the constructive feedback, and I prefer to work on it, kind of thing. Ki, acha, theek hai, if they're not liking this kind of thing, okay, we'll not go ahead. We'll try to not to go ahead with like a ad kind of thing. We'll take it the way they like it. As I said, they really like my humor and fun things, so I'll go ahead with the same thing. So yeah,
Yes, there's a thin line, between
Yeah,
criticism,
but
which
some-
can be helpful,
yes,
and the bullying.
yes, exactly. So when sometimes it's like really, they're gonna cross their line, or they actually do that most of the time. I just keep it like that. It's okay. It's your opinion you're giving me. It's up to me if I'm gonna take it or not. It's time to make I'm like literally I can imagining that. I just don't remember the name of that actor. Pankaj Tripathi or somebody. I forgot the name though. Unka he said some dialogue. आप मुझे गाली दे रहे हैं, मैं लूँगा ही, kind of thing. It was quite funny though. So yeah, if I'm not really liking that those comments and all that, I just don't
register
care
it.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
it's
register
your
it. Keep
thought.
it
You're not
away.
you can't push me or force me to take it kind of thing. It's okay. You're thinking like that. It's okay. I'm okay with it. It's okay. Just keep it with yourself kind of thing.
What about you? How do you
Yes, I am
handle-
quite. I really want to hear the answer.
How do you handle this?
I'll tell you a very funny story.
Yes, please.
When I
All
was
yours.
much younger, I was, let's say, 15, 16, there used to be something on Facebook called the Confessions page. Okay. And I'm talking way before influencering or social media even became a thing. And Confessions page, basically, people would be able to put their opinions across without being named. So it used to be anonymous.
Yes,
And there would be certain admins who just loved the tea and would like post it like a newspaper every day. So before going to school, I would like look at it to see if my name is put out or anything like that. And because I'm like very defensive as a person, I would comment back if somebody would say stuff. I'd be like, oh, who do you think you are? Okay, some GIF and like learn to speak English before you. That sort of childish stuff, okay? And I would feel like very proud. What happened is you spoke about herd mentality, right? I learned that at a very young age that when you respond, you invite more of that because they're like, oh, she's watching this. Let me say a little
Fan
more.
the fire of it.
Absolutely. And I've had the most miserable 1 year of high school. The second year, I learned my lesson. And because of that, that was like my biggest lesson. I said, you know what? The best response to a hater is no response. So when I became a public figure and when I get content and a lot of people say, sometimes it just reaches the wrong audience, okay? Even though I try to form a very urban audience for myself, sometimes it reaches people who are just randomly saying the most horrible things and they're abusing, and Instagram really needs to up their community
I think it's
guidelines.
become quite a trend nowadays on Instagram where I see everywhere there are comments saying that, oh, the reel reached the wrong audience. It's become a huge trend where it's just misplaced. The content is misplaced and people go ham.
Yeah.
With their comments, people just go ham.
Yeah, and especially the videos that go viral, the ones that hit millions, also just get. And I've stopped looking at my comments after a point of time. I'm like, there's no point going through just for engagement purposes for the first 15 minutes. I'm responding and saying thank you, and after that, I don't open my notification bar because you have to for your own sanity purposes, like she said. Otherwise, you'll not be able to create the next day. If you take every criticism and try to work on it, there's a fine line between constructive criticism and hate.
Absolutely.
So I take, if someone's saying the quality could be better, if someone's saying, oh, in this angle your face is getting cut,
These are
or
very
I couldn't hear
constructive.
your voice, I'm like, thank you, I will work on it. Maybe you're not looking at the camera enough, you're looking up a lot. I'm like, okay, I'll work on that. What do I say if you tell me, you deserve a better kitchen? Like, I'm sorry, you buy me a kitchen. But now watch my video or just scroll up. How hard is it?
I mean, we're not... nobody's forcing you to watch the video, right? It's coming.
And to take out the time to sit and type stuff, and I'm like, I'll tell her what I feel. Don't. Like, I nowadays I just like delete and I block. I don't even believe in. Yeah, I don't even want other people to see, because then you start getting likes on those negative comments.
And they gain
Exactly, and they
traction,
gain traction and they come to the top, and I'm like, you don't deserve it. Block, delete.
And it's your page at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
It's your content that you're putting out. People have the choice
Yeah,
to follow, to engage, right? If you don't like it, if you have constructive criticism, please, welcome.
No, honestly, see, I'm also human. If I find, like, let's say somebody having a very cringe dance video, I hate it, okay? And I will look at it and I'll be like, I didn't deserve to see this in my day. I might even send it to a friend in a DM and say, oh my God, why does she have to put something like this? But it's still contained, right? She doesn't feel badly about it because I'm thinking of her as a human being. But
She doesn't get to... there are no repercussions of it.
Yeah.
Right? Of the actions that you're
so, like,
doing.
if you hate someone's content, maybe, like, either scroll, or if you find it so, aggravating, send it to a friend and laugh in your DMs.
rant about it
Yeah.
personally.
Like, it's a free country. You do that with each other. Don't do it on the person's page, because they forget this creator is also human and has feelings.
And that is quite an issue where, people tend to forget that content creators are humans at the end of the day. They're not
Yes.
just
True
they're
that.
not just
They
virtual
just
figures.
want us to be perfect.
Yes, content creators are not virtual figures. They have flesh, blood, and they exist in
That's
real life.
this profession is not for the weak-hearted.
No.
I can tell you that, because you really have to take things with a pinch of salt and still wake up every day and do your thing.
uh, taking cue from that, you wake up every day and you're doing this, right? So you've been doing it for a while. Tell me, how do you deal with fatigue, content creation fatigue? Do you ever feel like, oh, I've been doing it for a long while. I need a sabbatical. I need a breather. I've had too much of algorithm engagement and reels. I need a break from it. If you do choose to take a break, how do you manage that? And if not, then how do you deal with the influencer fatigue? Do you space out your work, or do you just stop it altogether? What do you do?
So, I have a very interesting answer. Okay, so I just did this year. I'm working from past 5 years. I would say in the same field, and the first year, back to back, I was so tired of the shooting, taking care of the baby, going to office, taking care of the entire house. I'm like, I really need a break. What to do? Because the brands are not gonna listen. If I'll say, I'm in trouble, some of the good PRs, or I'll say the brands, they'll do understand. They'll give us some time. But of course, they're also paying money and all that, and they really have to, you know, go ahead. ki, theek hai, if you're not able to do it, we'll go ahead somewhere else, kind of thing. But yeah, if they really need me, because I feel if I'm working good, I don't think that, I need to do the shoots and all that. If the brand really need me, they'll reach out to me, kind of thing. If they really need me, kind of. So yeah, what I did this year, I took back to back 3 breaks. I'm like, okay, one break I went to my hometown. Second, I'm like, okay, let's go. It's family time now. Let's go for a family vacation. And it has to be no content day. I'm going to hometown. I really don't have to show or shoot. Ki, look, hey guys, I'm going to my home. No, I need my peace. So yeah, and then I went for my family trip, and then of course after all that chaos and all that, घर का trip हो गया, family का trip हो गया, सबको happy कर दिया. Now it's my time. Now it's my time. Literally me time I wanted. So I went out with my friends for a long 6 days trip, I would say, without any content, without the laptop, without the chaos, I'll say, oh, and of course without my family, my kid and all. I'm like, that trip is
A
only
little
because of
peace
me.
to yourself,
A kind
a
of
little time for
peace,
yourself.
I didn't even purchase, I didn't even get the roaming and all that, the international roaming. I'm like, nahi chahiye mere ko. If I really want to talk, I'll just talk to my kid once in a day at night before sleep. And yeah, that's gonna be enough for me. I really need that break, that no content wala break. Now it's much, much needed. Otherwise, you won't be able to, what to say, refuel yourself. I realized a bit late, I would say, but it was, yes, a much needed thing. Everyone should do that. No content time or duration or a day you can take off for yourself. Yeah, you don't have to shoot ki, acha, hey guys, I'm going here and there, I'm going out with my friends, and I'm going here, like anything. I
mean,
feel
we
that's
all-
really helpful.
We all are entitled to a little breather from our professions, right?
Yeah, that kind of piece is really different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what about you? How do you plan your breaks? How do you deal with this constant schedule? How do you do that?
Yeah, I remember when my first reel went viral, I was like, this is the time for me to monetize on it. And I think for like a good year, I posted every single day. Like, even if I would be at office, I'd be like, no, I'll go to like whatever the rest area, and I'm gonna find good lighting, I'm going to shoot it, edit it, post it. And I on weekends would kind of shoot like a lot, so that
longer.
I could edit throughout the day and post, to a point where I think life also changes. Like you said, lip syncing was really great at that time, but it isn't anymore. And then your engagement starts to tank, and then you get demotivated, and then you, because of that, think, okay, what do I do? In that strategizing time, there's a break, and just everything goes off. Brands are so picky about engagement, everything just starts to like go downhill, and then you start to question this as a career altogether.
Yes.
So I think what I would suggest to people would definitely, number one, batch create. That
Yes.
really, really helps, because now I've learned that, because batch creating, just you've got your makeup and hair on, or you've got like a lighting and that productivity mode on, like have your script ready, shoot like 5, 6, 7 of them, and just have, if you're lucky enough to have a team, great, send it to your editor, you get it, you post it, you're good to go. Secondly, to not run on this hamster wheel. I feel like if it stops being fun and it starts feeling like work, then you're not gonna
Yeah.
keep at it for really long. So yes, the algorithm will not favor you. Yes, your engagement might tank, but if you are doing something continuously but not having fun, you might never pursue it again after a break.
It might leave a very bad taste in your mouth, and you might
Exactly.
not want to come back to it.
Exactly. And to be sustainable, fun needs to be there in it. So, yeah, batch creating, spacing it out, even if you're posting twice a week, that's okay. Just keep it consistent because that's what Instagram likes, to know that you're predictable.
Yes, and it's art at the end of the day.
Precisely.
You're creating art, and there has to be some amount of passion that goes into it, right? And if
Absolutely.
you're continuously bogged by
Yeah.
a pressure that I have to churn it out, I
Yeah.
have to churn out. So according to a survey by Hootsuite, 40%, almost 40 to 41% of content creators out there suffer from a very negative impact of influencer fatigue. So it's great to see that I have two such content creators with me today who have balanced it out, who know how to handle it, and are doing such great to battle it as well.
But
right?
it takes time. You
Yes.
don't learn it in the first year
Yeah,
or the
of
second
course.
year because it's so addicting, you know. So you want to like keep at it. It only takes time and a few burnouts, honestly, to realize, to have that switch in your brain that can switch on creator mode and switch off creator mode, which again comes down to drawing a line with your private and your public life, right?
Yes.
Like she said, she went on a vacation and she did not want to show that. I went on a vacation for my birthday and I wanted to show that because it was like an international trip and I knew I would never get this experience again. So it matters. Like you should be very sure, okay, do I want to capture this? Then you plan beforehand, you save your audios, you have your references. So it's easier. You're not bugging people around you saying, hey, photo lena, can you, this angle was not nice. It's so annoying when people do that. So yeah, I think that sort of balance to know, okay, this I will be capturing. I already have content. Now I just don't want to. These are just things you learn. Having a calendar really helps. A content calendar, batching things together, and just knowing that in the end, you know, you're still human and you have a life and you shouldn't have to run on this cycle.
Okay, so content creation is not a bed of roses, right? It's not just standing in front of the camera, talking, dressing up, eating. It's not just that. There's a lot of things that go behind it. There's scheduling, there's finding a niche for yourself, there's figuring out what works best, what doesn't work. So, what ties all of this together is consistency, right? So, how do you manage with keeping up consistency in what you're putting up? Consistency can either be with the schedule that you're putting up your work, or the consistency and quality of your work as well. How do you work on that?
I feel consistency is not a rule, it's a vibe, I feel. That's what I feel, of course. Uh, so for me, it's not mandated that I have to, follow, like, I have to post every day or, thrice in a week kind of thing. I feel whenever I feel I have some good content or I should show this to my audience, I should show these moments of Vayu when he's, drawing on the wall and all that, or he's playing with the other things, or he's making something new. Or I feel so that's how I share. For me, it's not a rule that every 3 days or every single day or after or bi-weekly you really have to post kind of thing. I feel it's a vibe. Whenever I feel like to post, I post. I just don't follow this algorithm and all that. I'm quite chill kind of mom.
And what about you? How do you manage with consistency on social media?
I think on the contrary, I am very structured as a person because I'm juggling so many things at the same time. So my best friend is my Google Calendar. Like I might not look at my mom's face in the morning, but I'll open my Google Calendar in the morning. So that helps me keep my structure in. So I have, because I'm such a corporate commerce student girl, I have my quarterly goals, I have my half yearly goals, I have, okay, how much should I be reaching at what time? How should I re-strategize if something is not working out? And you can't do that if I just go with the flow or if I just post whenever I feel like. That's my experience. Algorithm has not been the kindest to me. So in that sense, I think calendars are a great tool to know, okay, today is it going up? Don't wake up in the morning and be like, should I post or should I not post?
Don't contemplate.
Yeah, don't contemplate. You have things beforehand. So pre-planning in that sense helps. Having fun, like I said before, definitely helps, because if you are doing it just for the sake of it, it'll show. And then you shouldn't be surprised if that content doesn't do well because your heart was not in it. And I think, yeah, these are the two things that honestly help me stay consistent.
Great. And since we are talking about authenticity, juggling authenticity and curation online, have the both of you noticed any significant difference in how people approach you or in comments and what people say about you when you've shown a very raw version of yourself versus a very curated version of yourself? Like, have you seen a shift in how people treat you whenever something like this has happened?
Yeah, so when I post some well polished content, of course, number of likes, the number of comments are like, of course, good. But when I post something which is, about related to my life or something unfiltered kind of thing, so people can relate that thing. Yeah. So for that, they get actually quite curious. So the kind of engagement, I would say, always I felt that was a blast kind of thing.
Okay. So it spikes up your engagement.
Yes.
always.
If I post the unfiltered things, which I don't post much because I really don't want to show all the stages of my life or all the phases, whatever is going on in my life. So yeah, but yeah, when it's, as I said, when it's like very well curated content, things are good. But if it's come on my unfiltered life, people get curious. They really like that humor, that
That is
funny
stimulus
thing.
of humor,
Yeah, and they can
something
relate
different,
that.
yes.
So the number of shares, I would say, it's like a blast. The number of the DMs, like they really want to know so many things about
Exactly.
because some of the
It scratches their curious.
yeah, and some of them are like quite shy. They don't want to comment on the post. They'll DM. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Why don't you comment the same thing?
Exactly. That is
Boost
what
my
I think.
engagement.
Yeah. I'm gonna get some reach, but that's okay. I would love to answer.
And what about you? Have you noticed a shift? Have you noticed a considerable change?
A lot. I feel like my branded content, it's so hard for it to reach the right people because brands are so picky with how they
Yeah.
want each frame to be, what colors you're wearing,
Yes,
and all of
exactly.
that, to a
Yeah.
point where an audience sees and the problem is that, and I don't know how this can be solved, but I know the problem. Campaigns roll out at the same time,
Yes.
right? So I'm seeing like a hair oil coming in 10 different creators' feed at the same
Yes.
time. So as soon as I'm seeing like another creator with the thing, probably in the first 5 seconds they say show the product. I'm seeing it and I know that this is
It's
not
the same
authentic.
skeleton, right?
It's the same
Yeah.
skeleton. They say,
Exactly.
oh, wake up, and then you say that your hair is itchy. You see it 3 times, you're like, okay, next. Because there's so much more to view.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
would I watch the same thing for the fifth time? Which is why, especially in India, I really feel like creative freedom should be given. Like, especially for me as a creator, I'm always like, can I at least put this because I have this style of content, and that's when people will watch till that time, and they're like, no, 15 seconds, and then the reach doesn't come. What do I do? Because you've not listened to me. I know my audience more than
I
you.
agree.
Exactly.
So-
And everybody is unique, right? Everybody
Yeah.
has their own USPs.
Yeah.
We follow y'all for
Yeah.
the USPs that you'll offer to us. So if you're not given that creative freedom, it's how are you going to be different from the other 30
Correct.
content creators
Yes.
who've been given the same task?
Yeah.
to
The audience are
promote the same
really
thing.
smart nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to. You can't make them fool. I mean, they'll understand it's an ad or you're actually it's a genuine feedback. So yeah.
Correct.
And talking about creative freedom, what is your go-to creative strain or a little tactic or something that is unique to you that you use in your content that makes it more engaging, more fun, more good, which works out for you exactly?
So in my case, yes, if I most of the things I post about the reviews and the feedbacks about the products or the things about kids. But when I post about Vayu, of course, the unfiltered things, and sometimes even I post about our life, like our life as in me and my husband's, some uh, floody moments, I would say, or some funny things. So they just like it like hell. So I feel sometime apart from these things, I shouldn't miss my life about before Vayu, of course. Though my page is all about the mommy thing, but yeah, sometimes our life, there's no harm to show my life a bit, like how my husband is actually helping me in the kitchen, how is helping me to handle the entire chaos.
As long as you are comfortable
Yes,
with showing
yes,
whatever
exactly.
amount that you want to.
Yeah,
it's-
and
it's
I
worth.
feel my audience are quite they're so kind to me that they really love it. Yeah.
Cute. And what about you? What is your go-to solution to this?
I think I've learned through a lot of trial and error, and I have made like a curated checklist that stays on my notes app. And before I'm posting that content, I go through the checklist, and if like most of them don't abide, I don't post. For example, is the video well lit? If it's a yes, then it's a go. Is the quality HD? If it's not, it doesn't go. Is the audio clear, or am I using a trending audio if necessary, or is the audio clear if it's a no thing that goes ahead, or it doesn't go ahead? And like that, there are like a few checklists that I keep, and making sure if there is a hook in the first 15 seconds, is it engaging enough? And I have the ability to view my content through a third person's perspective as well. No matter how much effort I've put into that content, I don't post on the same day, like I said, because I schedule. Maybe 3 days later, I look at it again, and I'm such a perfectionist, it's a problem. But I look at it again, and if it's feeling like maza nahi aa raha hai, I don't
Something's
put it.
not right about
Yeah,
it.
I'm like, nahi chahiye. What's the point just to put it only for you to then not get the engagement and feel bogged down? Because you know by now what looks good, what feels
Yeah.
good, and what
to
doesn't.
figure out the right fit, the right
Correct.
ratio of elements.
Correct. So that notes thing, I think I would suggest that to everybody who's a creator to actually have a checklist to start off with, and that will guide them going ahead, and they can add more things to it.
That is a great tip for people starting out. Another thing I want to ask you from this is, what advice would you like to give to new content creators, to budding content creators who are trying to create a public persona of them, but at the same time they want to keep some strains of their private self, of who they are, of the innate selves also a part of their public persona, how to get a delicate balance of it, basically how to not completely alienate your private life from your public persona, how to find the right mix when you're doing that, when you're just starting out.
See, my funda is very simple. Just be real, just show whatever you want to show. But yes, of course, make sure the light is good. Yeah, I mean, of course, with a light matters, of course. And yeah, storytelling matters a lot. Do whatever you want to do. Start slowly, but always make sure the light is perfect. You're looking good. And yeah, even the sunlight works most of the time. So just be yourself, go slow. And yeah, but storytelling is very powerful. Yeah, to make sure whatever you are showing or you want to say, the storytelling should be in a right way.
So your storytelling should be in a way that you are curating a public image of yourself while staying true to your
Yes, of course.
self
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. And what about you? How would you go? What advice would you give them?
Because I also work as a pageant coach, I have trained over like hundreds of girls who've come to me with wanting to be a public figure, but not getting over their insecurities or having like a restriction in their mind. And with coming from an Indian society, it's a very common thing to feel like, parents might not like what I'm putting, relatives will say things about me, I don't look a certain way as this XYZ person. Is it too saturated, the market at this point? Is there even a chance for me to enter? So I think what advice I would give would be, number one, to get over that mindset block that you have. Nothing will come out if you yourself after every post think, maybe I shouldn't be pursuing this, it didn't do well because XYZ reason, so I stop. Why would you start then? So I think a mindset shift you need to bring. And to be a public figure, you've got to act like a public figure, right? So it comes in your daily life, and I teach that also, to like wake up and put yourself together, to wake up and make eye contact with people, smile more. These are personality traits which will eventually convert onto camera. You can't be 100% shy person but say I want to be a 1
can't make that
million.
switch, right?
How are you going to do that? We're human beings, right? So I think that would be one. And secondly, it would be to start slow, but to start. Even if it's once a week, even if it's once a fortnight, put out something without overthinking it to a point where you ruin that for yourself. A lot of us struggle with overthinking, especially if you've seen so much great content by great creators and you're like, I come nowhere close,
The
man.
comparison.
That's
is
the
very
enemy.
detrimental.
Comparison is the enemy. So when you asked how to keep a personal side of them and keeping their flavor intact while also wanting to be a personal figure, the step public figure, the first one would be to stop comparing. That creator that you're seeing who's doing exceptionally well got there because they started somewhere really poorly with a terrible Android phone that does not have a lot of pixels, and probably felt like they wanted to quit a lot of times before they got there. The difference between you and them is just that they were consistent.
Exactly.
And they found their way. So if you don't try, you won't know.
Yeah, and these days we have apparently 75% of Gen Zs out there. They like it. They like the smaller creators better because they are more relatable. They prefer to support people starting out. So absolutely, your advice, both of your advices, go in line that just start.
Yes.
Take the leap. Start with it. Whatever,
There's
wherever you
place
are.
for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can
Just
all
start.
coexist.
And what about when people doubt whether they are good or not, whether it will work or not. This entire scarcity that, this big influencer has this, I don't have it. The entire doubt of whether it will work or not. I know it's definitely, it's very mental a thing that, what will happen. But how do people deal with it? Like, how do you overcome that thought of I'm not good enough for social media? How do you do that?
So if you really wanna, you know, if you really want to come into the social media life, think less and do more.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I mean, that's what I have learned when I started my career as a because I come from a very middle class family where people really think, "Yare, she's doing modeling. He's like, how his father is allowing her and to do such things." And my father was getting very angry and all that. So we come from that background. Yeah, you can't talk to a guy. How can you? How dare you to come with him the entire like till here? You should drop him there only. ठीक है, if you guys came together also in the cab, तुमको वहीं drop करना चाहिए था. I'm like, no. So we came from that mindset, okay? So of course I have learned from all that thing. Ki if you think less, na, you're gonna grow, kind of thing. I feel.
Best,
So if you really wanna grow, think less.
Think less.
Don't think about others. Just do whatever you wanna do. The less you think, the more you can grow. That's my thing.
Exactly.
I think I would actually give an advice that actually comes from a tattoo I actually have in my hand.
Oh.
It says I am enough because I mean I have a few, but this one says I am enough, and it very much goes in context because I, for the longest time, felt like I wasn't doing enough, that I wasn't being enough. And that in turn resulted in me holding other people in such high standards and being disappointed by them constantly. Any sort of maybe friendships, relationships, anything. And it really took me a while to understand, oh, it's because I need to first be satisfied with what I'm doing, with what I have. I had a friend in high school, and both of us wanted to get into acting. She had parental support, for example. So she's gone really far now and she's doing really well. And for the longest time, we'd unfollowed each other for whatever reason. But I would keep going to her profile, look at her vibrant life, and just feel terrible because I'd be like, this could have been me only if I had support. But I'm here struggling for myself only for one evening. And that reflects in your other aspects of life. I'll not create enough because I'll just be like, Arey, but this person's got so much going on for her and I have not. So
That
what is the
negative,
point?
Yeah.
The way comparison impacts you is horrible, especially in the age of social media. So I think one evening I just decided that have the willpower to not look at that person. It's as simple as that. You have a very different life and you have your own growth journey, right? And you are trying everything in your hand that's possible. Everybody has their own timelines. Don't like try to clash and be like, that
force
person
it, you know.
at that age, at this time, she's done this, I have not done this. How is that possible? Arey, kya farak padta hai? She might stop after a point. You know that story of the hare and the tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. You keep going. Stay steady. So I think with that intention, it is what that's coming from like the bottom of my heart that goes like that I am not enough wali feeling is only coming because you're focusing on others more than you.
Absolutely.
So just focus on your path, see how you can do better, make your past self your competition and just be like, am I better today than I
Work
was
on
yesterday?
yourself. Work on yourself.
And if you're so focused on yourself, you will stop feeling that lack or that scarcity mindset that you have.
Okay, now that we're at the end of the episode, we'll do a fun little rapid fire. Okay, so my first question to you is, what is one trend that you absolutely hated but had to do it?
I again forgot the name. It's
ASMR.
ASMR. I never liked it, but from the time I've got my nails, yes, I'm loving it.
Okay. And what about you?
I am a professional dancer, so these TikTok dances that came to Instagram, I hated, but I did it for a while. After that, I'm not.
And thankfully, it's died down
It's
right
died
now.
down,
There's
thankfully.
no more people doing
Yeah.
the same dance anymore. Okay, next question. If you had to delete one social media off the earth, which one would you do away with?
Facebook, of course. Like I don't wanna handle that much relatives and so social media, I would say.
I'm gonna say something very controversial because it's the app that got me where I am. But like, I think I'm done with Instagram. I
Is
mean,
it
if
too much work?
if it just goes away, I think we'll all live a happier life.
Can't agree more.
Okay, next question. What is one social media rule that you've broken secretly?
Algorithm, I would say, because I feel like I just go with my vibe, not with the algorithm kind of thing. I really want to post whenever I want to post.
Okay, so you don't schedule it.
I
you
don't follow
you
the
don't
rule.
follow
and
a
all. Yeah,
strict
no,
rule.
no rule.
Okay, and what about you?
Mine would be to not necessarily have a DSLR camera on
Whole
my face
setup.
the whole time. I think authenticity also comes from like picking up your phone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And my last, a little controversial question to you is, do your followers need to know or deserve to know how much you make from social media? The exact number.
Not really. I don't think so. They should know that. They should. They are quite keen to know how we are living, how's our life is all about, not about the income. It's always a secret thing.
Oh, good.
No, I don't like people to be privy of my financial information, but I would say that it differs. So, for someone thinking to make this solely their source of income, it takes a while.
Okay.
So, know that your bank balance will be unstable, and so will your mental health a little bit.
Understandable. Thank you so much for coming over today. We've had a wonderful, very insightful session with the two of you. Lovely ladies. Thank you so much. And we had a great time having you over on this episode of Kofluence Unplugged. Hoping to see you both soon again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We actually had fun. Yeah.
Thank you. We hope you thoroughly enjoyed this episode of Kofluence Unplugged and that we could shed some light into the insights of how do creators maintain their individuality while catering to the demands of their audiences. Like, share, and subscribe for more such riveting discussions in the field of social media and influencer marketing. Stay happy, stay kind, and keep Kofluence.